Warning. The following content may be triggering for others. Your discretion is advised. This podcast is intended for mature audiences only. If you are triggered by anything at all, I would avoid this podcast. Thank you. Have a nice day. Welcome to the R.K.i.C Podcast with
Rin.
Cable.
And I'm Chris. Our goal here is to inform you on issues going on with the world, stick it to the mass media, lying politicians, and woke culture, try to help others improve their lives, and of course, whatever we want. Usually includes games, anime, comics, things like that. We're nerds, so deal with it. Check us out on YouTube, Rumble, and Spotify for now. Without further ado, let's get into the shit.
Clap.
Yeah, we did it. Okay, we're becoming professionals at that clap part now. But anyway,
We are.
You know, that just taken out of context.
Hey, you know what? Maybe I'm not worried about it. You know,
We're getting good at that clapping, huh, Chris?
Listen, if we want to talk about clapping, we can talk about the Senate floor again. But anyway.
Oh my god.
That was
Yeah,
very
this is
good
going to be
clapping.
a great cast, everybody. It's the new year. Okay, so.
Man, like, it's probably a good thing that I am so, like, medicated on allergy meds right now.
It's like Cable. I've never been happier than being sick.
Right? I have deniability.
Just so we know, Cable's of sound mind and heart and body, and he has no intention of himself. Gotta make that clear. I mean, unaliving himself. Can't say that on YouTube.
We're gonna be talking about, you know, a guy who didn't self-delete, so.
Yeah, I forgot. We gotta say self-deleted and unalive.
Yeah.
I mean, that one works too.
Unalived, unhealth-cared himself.
You know,
Life.
it's kind of funny how we've even almost had a warning strike so far over the dumbest things, and yet saying the S word is what can get us a strike.
Bro, it just proves the point even more, man. Like, we've pissed somebody off, so obviously we're doing the right thing.
Oh yeah. So do we want to start lighthearted with a little more lighthearted topic?
Yeah.
Okay, because there's a
That
lot
sounded
of
like a very strained, yeah.
I mean, I'm good. I'm just ready to get rid of.
we have a lot to go. We have a lot to go over today, but I just want to get this out of the way right away, and this is what I brought to the table, which is literally just the appetizer compared to the turkey that Chris made and cooked up and has ready for us.
Oh
So
man, I wish I could have found my helmet. Like, I swear to God, I feel like I want to need it.
oh boy.
It's like,
So
I'm going to the cellar.
I'm going to the cellar. I'm going to the cellar. Good old
Okay,
Christopher
so-
Titus.
here we go. Director Charmaine. I don't know how you pronounce her, but she's basically a pro-Palestine, you know, extreme feminist, or as I like to say, feminazi, who is now taking over Star Wars at Disney. And if it wasn't already bad enough that
Oh,
Disney's
yeah.
in the shitter and is now, for the first time in years, is not the number one grossing film studio for 2023. It's kind of
Let me correct what you're saying. It's the most highly sold. Let me rephrase this. The most highest grossing franchise. Go ahead.
I think
Continue.
it was Pokemon. But anyway,
No, Star Wars was it for a long time. Pokemon is up there, but I think Star Wars was up higher.
well,
I could
here
be
in
wrong.
America,
I could be wrong.
I mean,
well, here in the, oh, go ahead.
the gist of it is, of what it sounds like to me, is that Disney's like, hey, we know we've been sinking our own ship, but hear me out. We're gonna keep doing it and hope it fucking fixes itself.
It's so tone deaf how you just got a woman, and I already saw the interview. Her just straight up saying, "I want men to feel uncomfortable in my movies. I want that if they're scared and they're uncomfortable, good." And it's like, no, that's not good. I mean, what happened to
You know
the
what?
days?
Let it happen. Let them do it.
No,
Let
yeah,
him
you're right.
fucking
Let him
up.
do it because you know what? I haven't supported Disney in a very long time in any form or fashion. I'm pretty sure I got to double check, but I canceled my Disney Plus subscription. I stopped buying any Star Wars or Marvel merchandise. I've been since I was hardly ever buying it at all, but now it's just for sure. I don't think I support him in any way because of how much they're just sinking their own battleship and they have no one to blame themselves. And now this woman's just going to make things worse because I think people unanimously agree, regardless of what side of the political spectrum that you're on, that just making a movie to preach your politics instead of being a movie about escapism is just all around just so shitty. It's
I
like,
mean, look
No,
at
trust me,
Netflix.
not
Look at
all.
Netflix.
Oh yeah, I know. Not all side. Not to be fair, not both sides of the aisle agree with this because, and I'll explain why. Because the left think that as long as it's pushing their agenda, they don't care. It's when they stop pushing. It's when they start pushing a different agenda that they's like, oh, why am I not included? Because apparently they can't get into a story unless it's like their real life. Which, if that's what you're going to a movie for, you completely miss the point of movies and entertainment in general. The other thing that I am getting on about is that Disney, the guy that runs Disney, literally just admitted in an interview that wokeism has failed. He admitted it in the same interview that Elon Musk did his his famous "go fuck yourself" thing. Earlier on in that show, guy who runs Disney, can't remember his name off the top of my head. He's forgettable anyway. Go fuck himself. And he even said to that same interviewer that woke has failed, and yet they do this.
and the worst part about it is, it's like, look, okay, fair enough. You're an artist that wants to preach a message. Okay, go make a movie about it. But this is Star Wars. Forget the fact that it's Star Wars. These are entertainment. This is literally an entertainment franchise. Emphasis on entertainment. You're not there to preach your politics or to preach any of this bullshit. You're just there to write a good story. I mean, it's so ridiculous to think that we're in the year 2024, way past the from a decade ago, the whole early on feminist movie and how movement. I mean, and how it's like it was a big meme back in the day, the SJW meme stuff. I thought they would have understood by now that whole feminazi pandemic that was going on failed, and they were just a laughing stock for everyone, including women, because it made them look so bad, like the manspreading and all that. And now, here in this day and age, we got Star Wars coming in to tell me about why I suck as a man, because they want to preach their bullshit. Meanwhile, like, they already had well-written females in their stories. Princess Leia being the biggest proprietor of that, because she wasn't just...
Man, it's bro. We
even as a damsel in distress, she was able to kick some fucking ass. I mean, you want to talk about a strong woman,
dude? Yeah, dude. She killed one of the most notorious gangsters in the fucking galaxy.
And even
as a damsel in distress, that is a badass mark if I've ever seen one.
And even in modern ages, we just had Ahsoka Tano, which is one of the more recent additions to the Star Wars universe. And she was just a well-written character. She didn't go out being like, I'm a woman, so you gotta like me. No, she wasn't. But it was just simply, she was a good character. She started off as weak and small, and she grew into being a well-respected character. It's like, it has nothing to do with, like, there shouldn't be any women. It's when you push these politics and narrative and agenda that you just ruin the whole message and the whole everything about the story. You just ruin everything about it.
Look at Disney getting shit on how they were trying to replace like all of the male roles in the Avengers.
Oh yeah, not. Oh my gosh, the Avengers. Look, I know this isn't our main topic,
And no,
but
but I
tonight.
mean, it's just tying into the Disney's gonna blow itself up because it's like they care more about spreading some kind of stupid message than they do about putting out a good product, and it's been a downward spiral.
And the fucked up thing is, especially with the Star Wars thing, is because now, as a libertarian, as a conservative, well, mostly conservative libertarian, if that even is possible, I feel compelled. There's something inside me that compels me to boycott this, to boycott Star Wars, to get rid of all my crap. But at the same time, one, I loved the original trilogy. Two, I loved the prequels. Three, I loved Clone Wars and Rebels. Four, I loved Kenobi. I loved Andor. Oh my god, if you haven't seen Kenobi, you need, well, I can't even promote it now as much as I love it because it's made by a stupid fucking company called Disney.
Well, there are other means. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna say I really like Pirates of the Caribbean. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's when I fell out with Disney when they pulled that shit with Johnny Depp.
Oh yeah, I agree.
And I love it, like
But-
how it all backfired and blew up on Disney. Backfired on Disney. And
it hasn't
they're
backfired yet, but it's going to.
Well, when they released the new Pirates of the Caribbean, what they're doing.
Oh, yeah, I remember they released it. It went viral for all the wrong reasons for like a day, and then it disappeared. It was like Disney just went, "No, quick, shut it down, shut it all down!" Like,
abort.
You know, it was like that one. I can't remember what cartoon it was, but it was like that whole. It may have been American Dad, but it was that one guy that comes out and he just like he was froze. He was supposed to be like a Walt Disney incarnate for this particular show, and he comes out, he's unfrozen, and he's just like, "Shut it down, shut it all down." Like that's exactly what the government did.
Guys, hang on a second. My video capture thing like froze.
Oh,
okay.
Welcome back.
Anyways,
Welcome back.
We're having technical difficulties. Well, Cable is having technical difficulties. You will not probably see his face today, but you will hear his voice. He'll be.
He's butt ass naked. That's why.
Well, I mean,
I am the voices that are in your head.
I kind of like to use this as an opportunity. I'm just kidding.
Think of Cable as like the shadow people you saw when you took a bunch of antidepressant drugs.
Listen, I am not a drug-induced sleep paralysis demon, okay?
I was home with that one, didn't I?
Oh, you got jokes, fuckers.
I've always got jokes.
Listen, just because I'm in the biohazard box.
Cable has COVID and he has to be triple vax. You know, he's got his mask on and everything. He's really clean.
Man, get this shit. So, like, yeah, that's what I said. I was like telling people, like, man, like, I get 2 bad sinus colds every year. You know what's a side effect of? Having your nose broken as many times as mine's been.
Oh, yeah, you're in the middle.
And having jacked up sinuses. Like, it happens. And then they're like, you sound sick. I'm like, yeah, it's a sinus thing. It's COVID. You got COVID. I told you to go fucking do all the fucking, all the jabs. Like, every day. We go get like 30 jabs. Like, what the fuck?
You must really want that, heart problems. I mean, that's,
I'm like, you know what? I'm like,
myocarditis. I mean,
I'm like, you do your thing. Yeah. I'm going to, go back in my quarantine from stupid people.
Well, in any case, I think we left off at a very interesting point, but we're kind of getting near the end of it. Just that Disney is going to die as a friend. Well, they're not going to die. They're Disney. But so long as I have custody of that mouse now in the public domain, I will put that mouse in as many horrific places as I honestly can. Now we can say Mickey Mouse and not have to give Disney a penny.
I mean, it's just good. I mean, you know how it's going to be. Now that has been said, you know you're going to wake up in the middle of the night to a shadow standing over your bed with the bed. Huh, fucked up you did.
No, what's going to happen is he's going to wake up with a shadow over his bed, and the shadow's just going to go, oh, fuck it. And then we'll never hear Ren again.
Well, think about this. Disney's going to lose another intellectual property not too long after. I think Captain America is one of the few that come up next. So, yeah, that fucker will be mine too, Stu.
No, the Marvel stuff, they can't lose just one Marvel property. They're going...
I know there was a thing to where there's something with Marvel was trying to break away from Disney.
Well, it's going to be very hard to do that simply because of this. When Marvel was initially sold to Disney, Stan Lee was the one doing it. Stan Lee is now dead. And there's really not a whole lot of people in charge of Marvel anymore because of that have any sort of real influence or pull. So it's going to be a lot harder for them to separate. And as far as I can tell.
I never said it was going to be easy for them.
Now, maybe someone that has, more experience with this kind of crap than I do would probably be able to say, no, they'd be able to do it because of this loophole and that loophole or whatever. If anyone knows, cool, by all means, tell me. I'm always willing to be wrong and learn something new. But
give me 1 second, guys. Keep talking, I can hear you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
But I think it's going to be difficult for them to do. I think that's going to be a difficult one. I think what's going to have to happen is they're going to have to sit there and the intellectual properties themselves are going to have to go on strike.
Well, the biggest thing is that after 100, I forget what years exactly, but it's after 100 years or so, more than 100 years, that's when an intellectual property becomes public domain. That's why I say Captain America is one of the next ones, because he was made, I think, at the cusp of World War II.
Right at
the beginning of it.
It only becomes public domain if the people that already own it let it become public domain. What happened was Stan Lee sold those rights to Disney. So when those rights changed hands, so did that timeline. So it's not going to be 70 years from the creation of Captain America that they're going to be able to get it as a public domain. It's 70 years after the acquisition of Captain America by Disney that they'll be able to. Now that's only if Disney does not renew their rights to that intellectual property.
But they're obviously going to do it because Marvel's big for them. Even though Marvel's been shit lately, it's still a big property for them to let go.
But that's
that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, well, that's a shame.
But I mean, it's still possible for I don't think it's going to be possible for them to pull away like the U.S. out of Iraq. I think what's going to happen is they're going to have to find a way to put some kind of pressure on Disney. And I think what's going to have to happen is it's going to have to come not just from one of the intellectual properties that they own and the people involved in it, but it's going to have to come from all of them. And the problem is Disney can pretty much put whoever they want to be in charge of Marvel. As far as the movies are concerned, they can put anyone they want in charge.
Right.
Period. Same thing with Star Wars. Now, if the people that are in charge are willing to stand up and go, no, we don't want to do this, you need to do things a different way, or we're going to go a different way somehow, all of us, then yeah, maybe Disney will sit there and go, okay, well, looks like we have no fucking choice because you're forcing our hand. But then again, they could just go, okay, well then fine. You all go ahead and go on strike and go home, and I'll replace you with a bunch of other people that will do what I want, and you guys can have your morals at home. So I don't know. It's a tough battle. It's going to be an uphill one for sure.
It really will be. Well, speaking of Disney and Star Wars, George Lucas is not on the list, at least. George
Well,
Lucas is not on the list.
Are we ready to talk about the Epstein documents? Is that what we're ready to get on?
Chris,
let her rip.
it is time.
Let her rip.
It is time, bro.
It is Thanksgiving, even though we just finished with the holidays. It feels like Thanksgiving came back.
Dude, okay, so on the documents, and they're free. Like, you can go and find them.
Yeah, I have them pulled up right now.
Yeah, you can literally just go in and like just type them up on like Google, and the docs are there. You can go and find them. The issue is a lot of people are taking this as being the list, and I want to correct this, and I know that not everybody is under this mistaken impression, but there are enough people to where it needs to be corrected. This is not the list. There are names that have been, found out to have kind of like where there's implications to where you can kind of pretty much guess, okay, yeah, no, this guy, and this guy at the very least, were definitely up to no good and definitely up to something very sinister. But no one else is written. In reality, nothing has ever is really been confirmed. There is something that has been confirmed in the sense that it seems like, and this is in the most recent drop, because there have been 3 different drops. There was one on the 4th, and then there was one on the 5th earlier today. Either earlier today or really late last night. And then it was either 3rd or 4th, the first drop, and then the next day was another drop, and then we've got another drop today. That I think even just took place just minutes ago, or like a couple hours ago at the latest. In the most recent drop, there is actually an email. There are sets of emails that implicate that, or that imply, not implicate, implicated is not a word in that sense, that imply that former President Bill Clinton actually went to Vanity Fair and was like, you better not write this story about Epstein. And now here's what thing you got to consider. That due to the documents, that he has a deep involvement with Epstein. Now, whether he was guilty of actually engaging, we don't know. We don't have a confirmation. Okay, we can assume, and it's a pretty safe assumption. I'm pretty sure that
it's one where if it came out with final concrete evidence, no one will be shocked or surprised. I mean, this is the same president that in history has had a repetitive pattern of sexual misconduct in his life.
Yeah,
including in the White House.
Yes, including the White House. It's one where no one would be surprised, and frankly,
granted, I can't really hold that against Bill Clinton though, because I mean,
he's married to
Well, JFK kind of did the same shit, but
to be honest,
at least with JFK, he bumped the slut level, huh? At least with JFK, he bumped the slut level up a bit and did it with Marilyn Monroe, whereas like with Clinton, it was Monica Lewinsky.
What?
I mean, you're the president. You couldn't have gotten a BJ in the Oval Office from someone a little hotter. But I digress.
I mean, I was just gonna say a little side note that I always have the feeling that Bill Clinton is not Bill Clinton, but I always have the feeling that Hillary and Bill Clinton is one of those marriages where it's just for show, and in reality, behind closed doors, they're totally cheating on each other, and they know it. They don't care. They're just like, I just had sex with this person. Well, I just had sex with this person.
But see, here's the thing.
You mean like Will and Jada?
I feel like...
Yeah, like Will and Jada.
Yeah, but see, just like Will and Jada, I feel like the cheating is more one-sided. I feel like Bill's the one. I guess let's face it. Bill's probably the only one in that relationship that's getting laid. Let's face it, because I don't know a single man that would fuck Hillary Clinton. I just don't.
She's probably the one having to pay others to fuck her to even get some sort of sensation out of that dusty ass clit.
Even if she can. Look,
allegedly.
Well, it's not allegedly. This is all speculation. I already said this is all speculation on my end.
Again, all of this is technically speculation. All of this,
except for the part that he was mentioned.
Well, he was mentioned. He was mentioned. It was also mentioned that he did go to that it implied that he went to Vanity Fair and was like, "You better not, write this piece on Epstein." But God, to go through all the names that are on the list that we know confirmed did some shit, like
Prince Andrew.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's one of those we kind of had a feeling about, but yeah, we just got it's just got confirmed. It's one of the ones that actually did get confirmed.
Well, again, that one I think so. Dershowitz was unredacted, but then, like, I don't know, there was a weird thing where, like, the one that came forward about him, the victim that came forward about him,
a few moments later.
I'm waiting, old man.
I know you are, and I'm trying to find it, and it's not...
That was a SpongeBob reference.
2,000 years later.
Fuck! Oh well. Anyway, the girl that pointed him kind of took back her testimony, so I guess some people are saying that his name, because there's an unredacted name, or there's a redacted name still on the document, I should say. People are like, who's still the redacted name? Because they were supposed to all be unredacted. And there was another prince that they kind of alluded to, and it's like, I want to know who that other prince was, like, but it's one of those things where it's like, you think about who could have kept their name redacted when, guys like Prince Andrew couldn't. I mean, Jean-Luc, he's a fashion designer. He got X'd, like, not long after Epstein. Like, he was he just and what's up?
Well, I was just gonna say, I think it's safe to say, though, a lot of people are still yet to be named, but he's one of those that, he got...
I was surprised that the media hasn't run with the fact that, because they kind of did go Trump named in Epstein court documents or whatever, but the media hasn't really been, like, throwing that story around so much. Like, I haven't been...
Oh, believe me, it's there. Oh, I know
it's there. I've seen it, but I haven't seen it get thrown around. I don't know if it's just because, like, people aren't believing it. Because people are like, yeah, whatever. We kind of already knew you were going to... Because, again, there are so many people that are named in this document because Epstein just had a circle of just constantly wealthy people. So any number of names can show up. And technically this isn't his client list. This is just a court document linked to a defamation case. So going through and listing a lot of the people that he had dealings with in any way, shape, or form, they're going to be on that court document. So in reality, this doesn't confirm anybody on the left or right to have actually been engaging in any of this stuff. You can kind of draw conclusions based on what is said in the documents. But for the most part, there's only a few people that are actually confirmed based on what is said.
I think the craziest one that people are still baffled by is Stephen Hawking.
Well, God.
Because, well, here's the thing. He was in an email, apparently.
Well, my thing is this. Do you, even if Stephen Hawking was, like, in that deep with Epstein, let me ask you something. Do you really think Stephen Hawking could have fucking, like... I mean, how is he gonna do anything? I mean, he's confined to a wheelchair and confined to sounding like Wall-E, having sex with a speaking spell. So
for all you know, he died with a secret that he was able to move around. You don't know him. You never knew.
I mean, maybe, but I mean, like I said,
look,
the only way he gets around is in a wheelchair. That he and I don't know. He can't even talk. He has to have a modulator that sounds like Wall-E having sex with a speak and spell talk for him. Like, what the fuck?
The biggest issue is that for anyone that is mentioned in this list and regarding even knowing what happened, the problem is that you knew what happened and you continue to let it happen. You never at any point let it release. Now, I can give some people that were aware of it the benefit of the doubt that, well, I didn't want to say anything because if I did, I would have been fucking assassinated the next day. So, I get it. Fair enough for some people. They couldn't simply because they would have their whole family tied up in somewhere in Epstein Island if they even spoke about it. So I can get that. But the biggest thing is that it was Stephen Hawking, the one that said, yes, I would like to have an orgy with little girls, please. It's like he was the one that said that. I
don't remember Stephen Hawking saying that.
It was in an email. That's what the email wrote. He said he wanted. Hold on, maybe I could pull it up right now. Even I got the core document open right now.
Really?
Yeah, I had it open this whole time.
Well, I mean, it's not so much I was surprised. When I read through, I didn't see that in the emails. I didn't see Stephen Hawking actually say that he wanted to. But here's the thing: even if he said he wanted to, you really think he did? I mean, come on. Imagine what that tape would be, man. I'd be surprised if he would even able to get it up. You know what I mean? Like,
well, it's just a matter of that he was still saying those disgusting things, knowing that little girls.
I agree.
Children in general.
I agree, but let's focus on getting the real fucking monsters in jail first, the ones that actually participated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's focus on the guys that had some nasty shit to say about it later. I mean, I'm under the assumption, fuck it, lock them all up. But it's one of those things where it has to be done in stages. And you have to get the important people first.
No, the only other one that got confirmed recently was that Jewish professor from Harvard.
Dershowitz. That's the one that I was...
No. Wait, yes. Wait.
Yes, I was about to say...
I'm trying to remember, because I remember his name is Alan, and I couldn't pronounce his last name.
Well, he was also a very famous attorney. So, yeah, that's why. But man, it just.
Yeah, Dershowitz. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, this motherfucker was touching kids. Fuck this guy. Yeah, Dershowitz was the one that was which thankfully I figured out. Jewish people have weird nicknames sometimes or last names sometimes. But anyways, he's one of the. I'm sorry. Look, I said that.
He is Jewish, so I mean that kind of name is going to come with the territory. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
Look, if I see certain last names, I already know who those names belong to. That's all I'm going to say. But anyways, the point is that these are one of the ones that did get outed, and now he's just getting berated. And I wouldn't be surprised if he lost his job at Harvard. But he was one of those that was like, I think he was definitely, I forget if he was left wing or right wing, but he was definitely an advocate and big with saying his politics. And yeah, he was in what the heck?
Yeah.
Did he just post a picture with himself and Jeffrey Epstein?
I don't know if he did, but there have been a lot of people posting pictures of him with Jeffrey. There have been a lot of pictures of people with Jeffrey Epstein over the last 4 years.
Yeah, but he's basically trying to say that he's not guilty or whatever. But no, it's too late. His reputation is like down the drain. People don't trust him anymore. And I mean, to be fair, again, he was associate. It's when you're an associate that you kind of get screwed over by this Epstein list. Which I mean, like I said before, I can't blame someone for being an associate or even an acquaintance to him, considering he's a billionaire. I'm sure all the top 1% billionaires of the world know each other. Like, I don't think that's a surprise. And they know some of them know their dirty secrets. Because I can already tell you right now, I'm sure Jeffrey Epstein's not the one that had a dirty secret like this. I'm sure others do as well. But unfortunately, it's the only one that's been uncovered. And like I said before, most of these people would have your head in a stake if you would so much as go around saying something.
Well, you got to remember, Jeffrey Epstein was not just like a financier. He was. It wouldn't surprise me if intelligence agencies were using him to go out and get dirt on people. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't surprise me. Offering them something that is technically illegal, and then and you think about like the way that laws have changed in the UN. The adjustment. There was a long time ago. The UN made an adjustment to its laws where it kind of almost sort of. It was worded in a way where it almost sort of made pedophilia cool. Not really pedophilia, but it was like they were trying to. It was one of those things where it was like they were trying to make it so that way they were trying to fuck with the language around consent.
Yeah.
And that when you look back and you read through it, it's just like, man, you just know this was done because they wanted to make it not illegal what they did. Because once Epstein was caught, I mean, think about what happened when Epstein was caught. Epstein gets caught. Epstein gets, unalived with the cameras broke and the guards asleep. And then COVID happens.
Waldo was seen.
Literally not long after Epstein gets, hauled off, COVID happens.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole country gets shut down. And then, and people are getting pissed off about masks and all this other stuff and lockdowns, and people are getting pissed off. Well, hey, look, some black guy randomly ended up being, unalived by a police officer somehow, and while being pursued for a crime. Let's blow that up and distract everybody for a year or 2 or 3 or 4, because now we're into like year 5 of BLM almost. By a large
Look at it like this too, man. Look at it like this too. Like with all this, every time some like shit's about to go down, they always bring up the island.
Well, like my point is that everything goes back to Epstein. Everything that they're doing now, everything that they've done, Epstein. All goes back to Epstein.
Well, that's why people have been saying that they thought some big thing was going to happen again when this discussion came back up about the list finally being released. And turns out, I mean, some shit is happening, but I guess enough attention has finally prevented it from being phased out of the public eye. And thankfully, again, we're getting somewhere. Answers are coming out. Some names are finally being spilled out. Now, but in the topic of names, and like you were mentioning how the whole distraction thing, I think one of the weirdest aspects about it, though, was the fact of how they hard pressed on trying to figure out if Trump had any funny business with it. And turns out there wasn't any. Now, granted, they couldn't confirm nor deny it officially, but in terms of what we saw, as much as his name was being mentioned, was that, hey, I met up with him at some point, and he was at my casino, and that's about it.
That's about it.
Like I
Too.
said-
Well, the thing is, too, is like Virginia. Virginia Griff. Was that the girl that was it? Virginia that pointed out Dershowitz? Not sure, but Virginia herself in her deposition said that she was not able to get into Trump's casino. Like, Trump was like, "Nope, you're not getting in. You're too young." Like,
yeah. So it's very clear that
that's
he's
not
still
his
even.
thing. Like, it's very clear that's not his thing.
It's very clear that, like I said before, they were acquaintances. All billionaires are acquaintances with each other. It's not a surprise or a shock to anyone. It's just a matter of, did he know or did he not know? And the thing is, we'll never know, and because he probably did know. But no matter how much money Trump has, with all the other billionaires with their combined funds, I'm sure they would have sent an assassin and go kill him if he wouldn't even beeped about it.
Well, here's the other thing too: is like when it comes to this whole thing, I feel like the only way we're getting a list is if Trump wins. Trump wins the election, we get a list. If Trump doesn't win, I don't think we get a list. I don't think we get the list because the left wants to protect everybody on it. I mean, they've already unredacted a bunch of stuff, but then not redacted, they unredacted a bunch of them and then like kept one name redacted on all the paperwork. Imagine who that one name could be.
Oh yeah, we know.
There's really only one reason why someone would be able to keep their name redacted on a public, especially when something is released unredacted for the sake of public interests. You know what I mean? Like, imagine that's about the only thing I can think of is, again, national security issue.
But at the same time, it's
national security issue looks at the southern border.
Yeah. Again, well, the reason why I say this, let's say it was a former president. It would unravel a lot of things that president did during his time. Now, in the case of some of them, I don't know if that would necessarily be a bad thing, but the fact of the matter is this. We have some names that we can kind of assume that it's pretty safe to assume they had a bit more involvement than just being mentioned as being a friend by Epstein. We can pretty safely assume that. I'm pretty sure. I don't want to say with 100% certainty because I always want to leave room for the possibility that I'm wrong. That's just kind of the way I am. It's my nature. Unless I have the concrete proof, like in the living room with the candlestick, here's the blood spatter, you know what I mean? I always try to leave room for the possibility that I'm wrong. But pretty sure there are some names that we can assume. And given from what we can assume...
Speculate.
Well, from what we can speculate, the problem is it's only going to get worse. Like, when we finally get the list, it is going to have a very similar effect to what happened when Jimmy Savile was found out in fucking the UK for all the crap that he pulled back like 10 years. Found. Like, he passed away, and then all the crap that he did came out like within the next year or two. And it just like tore a country apart.
I remember that.
Yeah, dude, it tore a country apart. And I think that's going to do the same thing here when we finally get that list. It's going to be a good thing to get the list and get those names out there so we can round them up and put them behind bars. But the fact of the matter is, it is going to tear the fabric of this country in two. It really will.
I think the important thing is that we have to remember and recognize is that, well, we already know everyone in power are douchebag. That's honestly not a surprise whether with or without this list. But we need to remain objective and we need to be aware and cautious about the list. There were already people throwing around these fake lists about how, this is the whole list leaked. What are your thoughts? And it's like a bunch of celebrity names, and it's like there's no merit to it. You just went on your iPhone and wrote down a bunch of celebrity names and said this is the official list. There's gonna be a lot of fake information out there, and a lot of real one that comes out within the coming months. You not only do you need to be able to understand differentiate between the two, but there's a politician, celebrity, whatever person you like, regardless of what they believe in, you have to be ready and willing to do not throw them under the bus, because it sounds like you don't really want to hear them out. More like to be objective and to shame them, ridicule them, and to honestly put them to that standard of, hey, you're a piece of shit. You don't deserve to be in this position. And the thing is that, like I said, I already know it's going to be a ton of billionaires. I already know it's going to be a lot of the top 1%. And realistically, there's nothing we as people can do about it. All you can do is, by any means, just if they're like a company owner, company manager, a lawyer, whatever they could possibly be, just not support them in any way possible.
My thing is this. You imagine, like, the reason why I say it's going to tear this country apart is because there are probably going to be some very beloved A-list celebrities on there. That's why I say that. I mean,
right.
We already had a scare when people were like, wait, no, not Tom Hanks! Oh, no! Because let's face it, if it like, Tom, out of all the, like, A-list celebrities, Tom Hanks is probably the one with the most douchebag points. The most douchebag credits, I should say. Not douchebag points.
Yeah.
So, like, if it actually came out that he was really a part of this, the entire nation is going to lose their shit, because he's the type of guy to where you see a headline, Tom Hanks punches nun, you're going to be like, what the hell did that nun do to Tom Hanks? But if he's involved in this, bro. But that's like, that's just one example. And to be honest, he's probably not even a part of it. I hope. I say again, I hope.
I don't know why there's so many conspiracy theories around Tom Hanks about him being a part of it and being just a pedophile. I don't know why.
Because again, there are a lot of back when this whole thing began, back in 2019, his name came out. His was one of the first names that came out as far as A-list celebrities. Like, he had to go on the defense really quick.
What did he say? I don't remember. I don't think I even saw it.
I don't remember what he said either, but I think a lot of people dismissed it as like, fucking conspiracy theory, hogwash. Tom Hanks wouldn't have done that. But it was out there. It was put out there the minute. It was like, he got... The fact... What happened was, I think this, when his case was going through, some names that were on there as suspects or people that they're persons of interest. Let me just put it like that. Some of those names did get leaked. And I think Tom Hanks was one of the people that ended up being a person of interest. For what reason, I don't know. I think due to he may have had a lot of personal private dealings with Epstein. Not sure how deep their relationship goes. Of course, even if I think Epstein's best friend at this point would be like, nah, bro, I never met that dude in my life. I mean, considering the shit he's into and what he got caught for. But again, I think that's kind of why his name kind of got brought out there. So I don't want to say that Tom Hanks did any of that, because Tom Hanks is a great guy as far as I can tell. But, the fact of the matter is like this whole thing, especially as it pertains to a lot, not really the CEOs, the politicians, people are going to assume that anyway. You know what I mean? At this point, people are just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Fucking, We just assume that. They're not going to be surprised. Some of the A-list celebrities will not be surprising. Some of them will not be surprising at all. But I feel like some names will be very surprising, and I think it will tear this country a new asshole. And unfortunately, it's a necessary pain at this point. But again, we don't know anything until the official list comes out. And I don't think that's going to happen unless Trump wins. I don't think there's anyone else that's going to be willing to go, I will give the list of Epstein's clients. We will round them all up and put them in jail.
The reason
I don't
why
think anyone else would.
The whole reason why I'm more inclined to believe Donald Trump after every president. I mean, granted, I don't, like I said, don't remain loyal to any politician.
No.
But I'm more inclined to believe him because the whole reason why they attacked him hard back in 2016 when he was supposed to remember. Everyone was for sure thought that Hillary was going to win. Everyone was like almost guaranteed, yeah, Hillary's not going to win. It's not going to be Trump. Trump's been he's just been funny as a meme, but he's not actually going to win. And then come 2016, oh shit, he actually won. And so they started pushing this whole agenda that, oh, but there was a Russian hacking happened. You weren't supposed to win. And the whole reason why no one liked Trump, or at least immediately right out of the bat, every politician and every media source didn't like Trump, is because he wasn't supposed to be there. It's no different than a whole rigged race where you already know who the winner's going to be. It's going to be them. But then as it turns out, oh shit, some of this person managed to get in a position. Oh shit, here he is calling out all these famous people, all these politicians, like, even especially about the taxes, like, yeah, I don't pay my taxes. You know why? Because I use the same resources that all you and your friends do. So I'm willing to call your shit out. That'll always stand out to me because it's like everyone hated him because of that. He wasn't supposed to be there. Now come 2020, Biden ended up being the winner, but I think Trump was just the beginning to him waking. Now, granted, I do think a lot of people are way too dedicated to Trump. Like, Trump's not the second coming of Jesus. Let's be honest here. He's not, but he's still someone that the left really do fear. And they're trying to push that fear onto the public, and I bet more than willing, I'm more inclined to believe he is willing to release that list or make sure it gets out there once he's in power, and they don't like that. He's the silver bullet to some. He really is a silver bullet.
Man,
they know it.
When he was in office, like, you saw how when he even announced that he was running the first time, they all lost their shit because unlike them, he can't be bought.
No, because
he already makes his own money.
He already has.
Yeah, that's another thing too. That's another thing too is that when you meet someone, either they're already rich or they hate money, and you're not able to buy them, the next best thing is to take them down in other means. Whether it's assassinating character or JFKing him.
Yeah,
I mean, bro, look at how hard.
That's my fear.
Dude, look at how hard they've gone after Trump like no other president in history.
Abraham Lincoln.
Well, yeah, because they killed him. And JFK. You know what happened to him? He had a bad headache.
Can we not?
Sad thing is, both him and Abraham died from the same thing.
Again,
in the exact same spot.
And I mean, to be fair, the whole Abraham Lincoln, we already know why he got assassinated. It's not a big secret or anything. But as for JFK, it's not as well known. It's not as well known as to why he, allegedly got assassinated by the FBI. Allegedly, in Minecraft, he got assassinated by the FBI in Minecraft.
Did you really just do that?
I have to.
Oh.
Unfortunately, I have to.
YouTube! You cock-blocking bastards. Anyway.
That's why...
Oh my God.
That's why it's this heavy allegation. That's why he was also taken out of the picture, because he was changing things up that people didn't like. And during Trump's presidency, I mean, I guess it's not during Trump's presidency, but it's just in general when when the government gets shut down, people realize that it doesn't really mean anything for the public. So why does our 80% of our tax dollars go to the FBI and three-letter agencies to begin with? But anywho,
well, the fact that there are mob
it's
bosses
just
talking about it, you know what I mean?
It's a big scheme. It's all one big scheme. And it's a shame because people aren't more aware of this. And I don't like to use conspiracy theory buzzwords either, like sheeple and all that. But it really does come down to people need to be more aware of this stuff and understand that, yeah, some of it may be conspiracy theory, but it's not the bad kind of conspiracy theory like flat earth or anything. It's more of the ones that keep you skeptical and give you an open eye as to, just keep your eyes peeled. You start to notice these things, and you start to notice, isn't it kind of weird how much this person gets hated on? Isn't it kind of weird how much this person gets paraded? Isn't it kind of weird that at the moment someone's starting to speak up against some sort of opposing force, that either an allegation comes out or something happens? Just this whole thing is just... It's the same shit over. It's the same shit over. And he was just someone that was not supposed to be there, and they hate.
Well,
and but unfortunately, he's, like I said, if he makes it to the final two, I'm always gonna vote for him. It's not a secret, and I encourage others to do so. Not because you like Republicans or you should always vote red, but because he is the change that the other side does not want to see.
He's the change that even his own party doesn't even want to see. I mean, have you seen, there's a list of people list of Republicans, sorry, excuse me, that actually were voting for him being removed from the ballot. Or were not, I don't know if it was voting for him being removed from the ballot, but they were voting against him on some shit. And yeah. I think it may have been voting him off the ballot, but yeah. I don't know. It's speaking of Trump, since we're going into Trump, let's segue into the fact that he is now being taken off the ballot in Maine after already being taken off the ballot in Colorado. The Supreme Court is going to hear his case. I can't remember. They're not in session yet. I'm not sure what date that's going to be happening, but I know it's going to be happening this month, within the next week or two. He is going to be appealing that decision that Colorado made and trying to get it in before, California and all these other states take him off, which I'm surprised California didn't take him off, because he hasn't been, I don't know if he's been removed in California yet. I know. No,
he hasn't been. And I don't think it's because he can't. I think it's a violation of one of the amendments. I think that's why. So that's why he's gonna easily, he's already appealed it, and he's gonna win a trial easily.
Well, man, what they're trying to use against him is they're trying to say, because he led an insurrection.
When he hasn't, that's not even what he's being charged for. That's the thing.
Right. No,
exactly.
Right. And that's why, everyone, when it's going into the thing, they have to repeal it by the word how law is written.
Yes. So, by law, you cannot remove someone from the ballot under the 14th Amendment unless the official charge unless they're officially convicted of seditious acts. The whole reason for it was because to keep, Confederate officers or Confederate members of the Confederacy from holding political office. That's what it was all about. That was the whole reason why why that part of the 14th Amendment was put into place. The whole reason for that was to keep those people out. Ironically enough, those people ended up being Democrats.
You want another thing of irony? You got what was it? Was
the
it
fact
MSNBC?
That the Democrats lost the Civil War and now they're destroying the Civil War monuments because they're racist?
No, it was I was talking to you about it. I think it was MSNBC was saying anybody who doesn't support Trump being removed from the ballots is a Confederate.
Yeah. Funny, considering the fact that people that are trying to get him removed are technically repeating the acts of the Confederacy.
It's kind of hilarious, and the whole thing's just so hilarious and ironic. It's great.
You gotta love irony, because it is the purest form of comedy. Because it doesn't require a punchline. It's just there.
Right.
I just, man, it just, this has been a weird week. But the thing is, again, they're going to be reviewing it, and I have a feeling the Supreme Court will make the right decision. I have a feeling this decision from Colorado is going to backfire, and it's going to be great. It's going to be glorious. And what will happen at that point is, once he's put back on the ballots, guess what? He's going to be galvanized. No one will be able to stop him at that point. No one. He's going to have to get JFK'd in order for the government to be able to stop him. And unfortunately, that's my fear, is that that's probably going to be the next step after this fails, because...
Well, yeah, and then that's going to be the spark.
Well, because if that happens, it's just going to be...
If that does happen, and Trump does get unalived in order for... by the left, in order for people to, in order to keep him off the ballot, in order to keep him from being able to get back into the office, that will start a civil war. It won't be an option at that point. It will happen.
But I also get the feeling that it's still, at the same time, it's just that I just always notice people are more so against him than with him. I mean, even with the rate that some Republicans are going, it's gonna end up being him. He might get, JFK'd, and by the end of all that, I personally don't think that people will care too much. I think people will just see it as like, oh well, it is what it is. We found the captive. He's dead now. Oh well.
Yeah.
Not to we'll cry over it, and it's just gonna move on. I don't think it's gonna start it. I think most people are just gonna kind of ignore it, since a lot of people don't like him as it is.
Well, here's a scary, and actually, I was watching Timcast IRL. If you've never watched that, I highly suggest watching, because Tim Pool is awesome. From Chicago, like us, Cable. He laid out a very scary scenario, and it really is so easy for civil war to break out. It just takes, any sort of attack, and then the people perpetrating the attack knocking out communications, and then, law enforcement from multiple different, both federal and state, show up at the same time. No one knows who anyone is. And shots just get fired, and that's how it starts. It can, granted, I think he went into more detail with it, but the long and short of it, TLDR of it, is basically that. It's that easy. We get under attack. Let's say Texas, especially Texas, because of the way they're dealing with the little border thing. They get attacked, terrorist attack. The people that take responsibility for it cut down communications. No one can talk to anybody. No one knows who anybody is. You look at the guy that was a member of ATF that got arrested. How many times do you hear of like DEA doing a sting operation, like a drug sell, and then the cops at the same time are doing a sting operation for a drug buy, and they end up running into each other and arresting each other, and everyone's like, oh, wait, you're DEA? I'm NYPD. Wait a minute. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how many times do you hear about that shit? It happens more often than... And that's our tax dollars at work. So...
Oh, yeah, that is our tax dollars at work. I love to see it.
So, like I said, it's that easy. Civil war is literally that easy. But I think it will be my guess is that if this gets overturned and Trump is back on the ballot in those states, the next step to try and keep him off is to unalive him, and that will start civil war.
No.
Speaking of civil war, well, not civil war, but I guess civil unrest in the streets. We want to talk about the Rochester thing, the SUV that just barreled into like a bunch of people at a concert in Rochester.
Yes, I do. I do want to hear about that. I have no idea what that is. I honestly didn't hear about that.
Yeah, this is the first I've heard about it too.
So there was a terror attack in Rochester. I'll pull up the article. Rochester. Okay.
You know, it still says OBS is open, and it's not.
Well, it's probably going to stay that, but anyway. But the thing is, it's they say there's no evidence of terrorism because as of right now in the investigation, there's no proof of the fact that it was terrorism, although a lot of people are considering it domestic terrorism. But it's basically just this guy. There was a bunch of explosives in an SUV just barreled into a crowd of people, and the only thing that saved a lot of people from getting unalived and instead just getting injured was probably the fact that there was an Uber driver right fucking there that just got cracked. So
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And there were people that were inside the Uber, obviously. They all died, I think. But
do you have a video of this?
I don't have the actual video of it. I don't even know if the video of it exists. I know that there were pictures of it all over. Let's see. Let's look at the top articles. Rochester, New York crash. Police find no evidence of terrorism after deadly collision. Let's see. Let's try. So, 3 people were killed and several others were injured in a car explosion less than an hour into 2024. Yeah.
That's sad.
There's a Ford Expedition. Okay, so it wasn't explosives. It was at least a dozen gas canisters that literally just smashed into a fucking Uber. And yeah, they were, man, I don't just. And the guy totally has a Eurobomber look, but that's beyond the point. Yeah. I mean, they haven't found any evidence of the fact that it was terrorism, but it's an hour into 2024. It took an hour for that shit to go off.
I'm surprised, honestly, that it went down, like, it didn't go down sooner. With how the last couple years have been, man.
I mean, you're not wrong. So, like I said, that's the Rochester incident right there. I mean, I'll tell you what. The guy that did the Rochester incident, he had more success than the guy that tried the Times Square attack. Fuck. But God, it's getting ridiculous. I mean, that's not the only thing that has happened recently that is, messed up. I mean, wasn't there just recently another mass shooter?
Yep. Mass shooting in Iowa. The person was an LGBTQ advocate, but that's why it's not being covered as much in the media. That and because it was only one person that died and 6 injured, but still.
That's
still very sad.
It's still a very sad story. And it's still a very scary story to have to deal with, because I mean this is the reality. This is the shit that is happening. And
you know why it's not being talked about, because it goes against the message.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is like, you look at how many people like go and commit mass murders versus, you know, people that don't. I mean, most of the time when you look at a mass murder, they're usually some kind of leftist nut job. You know, at least nowadays. When was the last time a fucking Democrat politician was shot? I don't even remember. Do you? Hell, even the presidents, all of the presidents that have ever been shot, with the exception of JFK, being a Democrat. But think about all the presidents that have either had their lives, you know, attempted and failed, or success. 3 out of the 4 of them. So you think about Abraham Lincoln, Theodore Roosevelt, John F. Kennedy, and Ronald Reagan. Well, what are 3 of those 4?
Republicans, right?
Oh yeah. It's never a Republican extremist that goes out and murders a Democrat, you know, politician or anything like that. It's always a leftist nut job going after conservatives as their targets.
The crazy part is that, right, like, even under the post of the guys, well, it's not his original TikTok account. He made his final video before starting the shooting on TikTok. His account got deleted, so it's not there anymore. But you can still find re-uploads of it. And the worst part is that in all those comments, it's people just constantly saying how we're going to shoot up like these cis people. We're going to shoot up this school. I'm going to shoot my school because they hate gays or whatever. And it's like, holy shit. I've never seen something so extreme, not covered, and even above all else, not even mentioned. But let it be a kid from a Republican family or a gun-believing family, and he says he's going to shoot up the school. That's just going to be all over the news. It's going to be everywhere. And it just surprises me because it's like, this kid as well, it was already found out he was going to do it. He said it before, yada. It's the same story over and over. We know this already. Where every single shooter has messages and hints that he's going to do it. Or not even just hints. They just outright say, hey, I'm going to go shoot up this location. And no one does anything.
Well, again, no one does anything because they want this to happen, because this helps their narrative of why we need gun control. The only problem is that they can't report on it because it goes against their other narrative, which is like, you know, gays aren't violent. You know what I mean? Like, I would hate working in modern media because you were just constantly in a box. Man. Just constantly in a box.
Oh, I would absolutely 100% hate it. And the worst part is, if you even so much as, again, go against the narrative or go against what they want, you're going to get fucking ostracized and bastardized. It's so ridiculous. And I think I uploaded... So this is more of a personal thing, but I wanted to bring it up simply because it has to do with what we're going to talk about today, how I got into a Twitter argument. Less of an argument on my part, more of just a conversation. But this fucking person, part of the LGBTQ community, did not like how I called it toxic. And it is toxic. It's not even just toxic. I'd go so far as to calling it a cult now. It is now spilling out cult-like behavior, where if you even so much as question it, you're against the message, and you deserve to be harassed, berated, doxxed, lose your job, which they do believe. They want you to lose everything in your life.
Yep. Because
you're not 100% on board with the message. When no Republican is out here saying, I want to take away gay marriage. If anything, the crazy part about being a Republican libertarian, I don't want to take away your freedom. I want you to have as much freedom as possible. In fact, I even want you to have more freedom and less red tape in your life. I want you to be able to go and buy a tank if you have the money for a tank.
Hey.
But again,
But I don't.
But again, they try to lump everybody in with this crowd of being, these uber oppressive,
Extremist.
conservative, right wing extremists.
You're right, and it's why I always say on our end of things, on our side of things, we also have to be careful and to remember not to loop just because someone's gay or trans into that hive mind, because a lot of them are starting to.
Some of them are starting to wake up. You're right.
Yeah, because there's plenty of gay people and trans people who hate the LGBTQ community because it goes against what they originally fought for. The original message and the intent of it was, I would say, admirable. It was simply because you want to marry the same gender, and there is nothing wrong with that. Now it's, I have to accept your ideology and the fact that you're a woman, even though I see a penis between your legs, or a mutilated one at that, and I have to just accept it as logic, and that women can get, and that men can get periods, and men can get pregnant, and all this other bullshit. It's like, no. Basic biology will always exist, and that's just a known fact in life. Just as much as the sky being blue, or the ground being made out of dirt. It is just a fact of life, and whether you like it or not, it's not up to you. It's up to it's not up to anyone. It's just the way things are, and that's one of the things you're not going to be able to control, and that's fine. I think I get it, some of them do get berated for when they say it, but it's like, I get it. You want to be called a woman, so you dress and wear makeup and all that. I also consider women out of respect if you deserve the respect, but if you're whining, crying, calling everyone a bigot, and honestly being a huge brat, not only am I not going to give you the respect you want, you are just being delusional in your mind, and it's only being pushed more and more. And this is the results and consequences of it.
Well, here's the major problem. The major problem is that, and Christians kind of helped this, and I'm going to say this to my fellow Christians. We helped start this because we gave the media, with all of our, anti-gay rallies and all this other crap, we gave the media the ammo they needed to be able to perpetually make people think that just because you're this or that God hates you. And even now that there are a lot more Christians that are like, no, I'm not worried about it. Like, I'm not going to raise my kids that way, but I'm not worried about it if you do it. Like, by all means, go ahead. I mean, look, even if I do believe that it leads to eternal damnation, that's your problem, not mine. You know what I mean? Like, here's the thing. And here's the most dangerous thing about it. It's not even about, calling them a woman or whatever. It's about that they want to change the language so much to fit their psychosis. Not even a delusion at this point. It's just pure psychosis. And they want it affirmed. And that's why they're trying so hard to change the language. And it goes a little beyond that. It's not just so much that they're trying to change the language just for that reason. They don't want to be tied into reality. As far as they're concerned, reality sucks, and they want nothing to do with it. And we want to make sure that anything that could lead to reality is gone. They want the world. They want to be the change they want to see by making a bunch of stupid shit happen. Is basically what they're doing. Because they want their world for them, and fuck everybody else. Because I've been ostracized my whole life. All you people fucking hate me, so why should I give a damn about you?
But here's the thing, is that that's how it used to be, but it's not like that anymore. And I think they're just holding resentment. A lot of them
feelings from fact.
Yes, you're right about that. But a lot of them, I truly believe it. It's just their own personal it's there's just so much to it. But one of the things when it comes to Christians and Catholics or whatever, they are deflecting their own past and history with their experience of it onto the rest of society, when in all reality the rest of society just doesn't care anymore. And the fact is, when I was having this conversation with this person, they kept berating me, calling me a bigot, calling me SUNT, calling me an asshole, dumbass, all this. And it's like, I was just trying to be cordial. And they think that by the end of it, that I was so offended or whatever. It's like, no, I don't care what you call me. If anything, you were the one being offended because I said basic biology exists. And the fact that your community is so toxic. I don't care about what you do. And most of the people's response when I try to have a conversation, a legitimate conversation with them, all they do is respond with memes and repost and cry about it, loser. It's like, so you're not even serious about your cause. You refuse to ever even conversate and have a genuine conversation about it, and instead just keep spamming your memes. It's like, how am I supposed to take you seriously or respect you or anything?
Well,
At the end of the day,
that ties into, the lack of an education and a strong home structure.
Yep. It also has to do with the fact that again, a lot of Christians have turned them away from God because, again, we spend a long time making these people believe and that God hates them, and we gave the media the perfect fuel against us, to even just say, look, we don't hate you anymore. Really? Because the media says you're dead, and they're doing all this and that, and you're doing this, and there are some of these. Oh, see, look, some of your friends still hate us. Look over there. Like, okay, cool, but like,
you live in 2024 now, where you're celebrated more than ever in this country list. Yeah, not every country, but guess what? You're American. You're living in America. You're celebrated now more than ever.
You get a whole month. You get a whole month, but you're oppressed.
And it's not even a whole month anymore. It's the whole year now. It's every single day. Because it's not just gay month anymore. There's trans awareness day. There's this day. There's this sexuality day. There's all this sexuality. There's dildo for the month day. You have so much celebration in your life that you're not oppressed, and you need to understand that. And the worst part about it is that one of the people I was having a conversation with, they sent me this article about how a trans person did get killed for being trans, and there's no repercussion. But it was, although that did happen, it wasn't a case where this trans person just walked out of their house and they got stabbed. It was a case where they tricked someone into thinking they were a woman, and they went as far only for the man to find out this was a trans person, and he killed her for that. And I don't agree with the murder of anyone, especially for a reason like that. But when you're tricking people, you're playing a dangerous game. You have to understand, just purely, a lot of guys don't want trans people, and there's nothing wrong with that. So don't trick them and express it. I mean, there goes so far as to say that they don't have to announce themselves when they are trans, and you're supposed to just accept it. You're supposed to just take it and accept it. That if you reject them, you're a bigot still. It's like, it's going so far as to saying, if you don't see a trans woman as a woman and ignore the penis between their legs, even though you're not gay, you're a bigot. It's like, it's getting pushed so far now, and it's just resulting in so much fake hate that's being aimed towards them. Again, it's being professional victims, when in reality, no one hates you. No one wants you to stop doing what you're doing. But you have to understand, not everyone's going to agree with you. Not everyone's going to be on your side, and and each person's going to have their own preference of sexuality, and there's nothing wrong with that. You guys are the ones pushing this agenda and narrative onto yourselves, when in reality, no one cares. That's why people are against the LGBTQ community now, even gays and trans, because they understand how toxic it's become.
There's
and how much
a reason why Gays Against Groomers exists.
Yes, there is a reason why.
Because your own community realizes there's a fucking problem.
And it's a huge one. A huge problem. One that, honestly, needs to be fucking fixed, or else it's just going to result in more deaths. And not towards gays or trans, but towards the other side. now, where people are getting attacked just for having their beliefs and just for being who they are. You may not have been taught as a child that it's okay to accept who you are as a person, but these people were, and doesn't mean you should hurt them because of that. It doesn't mean just because you're so unhappy with yourself and in your life that you get to go around hating others and being harmful towards others and their beliefs. And the worst part is that these people are just so insane. Like I said in that conversation, again, pointing back to it, I went so far as to just try to be calm and relaxed, and they just kept throwing out bigot, and you're a bigot, and you're a bigot this and bigot that. It's like, I didn't even say you couldn't be gay. I'm just telling you how it is, how things the way they are, and if anything, these people want validation from strangers. They just want validation from people who don't even like them.
Because they're desperate for attention and validation.
Yeah,
that's the religion that they're in.
Yeah, man, and it's like you can't even have a conversation with people like that anymore.
Nope.
Because they think it's like to get their point across, they throw insults and like that's gonna fucking matter. But then you come across somebody like me, for example, where you can call me whatever the hell you want.
Like
you know,
it's like trying to have an argument with someone about Christianity back in like the 1800s.
It's so funny because they're like, if these insults hurt you, then you have a lot of good like newsflash. The world isn't going to be nice to you if these insults offend you. It's like, no, I'm not even the one that's offended right now. You're the one so defensive and offended right now because of what I said. Like, I'm not the one that's offended. I'm like, you can call me a Mexican slurs for all I care. I think that shit's funny.
It's one of those things where it's like, congratulations, you played yourself. Like,
honestly, it's like I was just saying that I wasn't the one hucking slurs and I was trying to have a genuine conversation. You're the one that was hucking slurs and
just hand him a card. What's this? My PO box, so you can send the L or the W you just gave me.
It's just these people are so crazy, man. Things are just so crazy now.
Speaking of crazy, the sheer amount of fucking medication I have to take to be able to fucking breathe right now.
Yeah, I was about to say, I kind of want to not go too much longer on this because there was like one other quick thing I wanted to talk about or bring up, but I was like, I kind of want to let Cable get back to, suffering not on camera. What I mean? Like,
just letting Cable getting back to dying.
Well, hopefully not dying, but yes.
What are you talking about? At this point, I believe I am immortal.
Well, maybe. Let's see. Aliens. The fact there was an alien. There was the largest police response in Miami in a long time over aliens. I think that's hilarious. I think
it's kind of crazy. 2024 is turning out to be an exciting year. Oh, and the guy that jumped the judge.
Oh, God. That was another one. Like, oh, my God, dude, there's just so much that just in the first 5 days of the year. Like, this is just the first 5 days. Wait till we get to October. It's going to be nuts.
Man, it's so funny because everyone's like 2024 is going to be the year. Meanwhile, we're all sitting in a house that's on fire with, this is fine.
Yeah.
2024 is going to be my year. And then meanwhile, when you're watching the New Year's ball drop, it pans over to two gay men kissing hard.
Oh my goodness!
That shit was so funny, but it was also uncomfortable because they were sucking each other's faces up. Like, damn, bro, go to a room. Holy shit! I know you want to fuck your bro, but Jesus, you're in public.
See that? I don't know, man. Like, just everything that's been going on. It's just like, dude, if this is just what's going on now, I mean, look at all the stuff that's coming out with like. We came out very at the tail end of last year with the plane full of like, or planes, I should say, planes full of like illegal immigrants getting trafficked all over this country, and
And then they're getting sent to Chicago, and Chicago mayor doesn't like it, even though he's the sanctuary city.
I don't know where they're going. I don't know where they're all getting sent to, but I know that they're all getting sent somewhere. It's like they're getting brought in. They're being told, keep quiet, and you will be an American citizen. And then they go and they do this thing where they're just, just rushing these kids through this airport at the speed of Mach fuck. I mean, these illegal immigrants could probably get through airport security faster than I could, simply because of the fact that they're, you know what I mean?
I mean, that's why they're Speedy Gonzalez.
I don't know about that, but like, I feel like it's just, it's all becoming really insane. I mean, God.
Mm-hmm. On the bright side, if you need some work done while you're at an airport, there's plenty of Mexicans at the moment.
Well, depending on which airport you go to, yeah. I mean, that's not wrong. Well, you can't assume they're Mexican. Simply because of the fact that I feel like a lot of these people are being brought in from Mexico. You want to know a funny thing on Mexico? Like, things are getting so crazy. Like, the guys that I work with at the mill, like, I've heard rumblings that oh yeah, this shit goes south. Fuck it, I'm going back to Mexico. Like, wow. We've become such a... I'm about to say, we've become such a shithole country that the second shit pops off, the Mexicans I work with are just like, fuck it, I'm going back to Mexico. Like, see ya. Like, the fact...
We're gonna deal with the goon squad rather than fucking whatever's going on over here.
It's ridiculous. There's no other way to describe it. It's gotten insane. No one has any solutions. That's the fucked up part. It's like, it doesn't matter who you talk to on either side of the aisle. No one has a solution. No one.
I mean, I have a solution, but no one will like it.
All of the normal people have solutions, but like,
I mean, I have two solutions. One of two solutions. But the first one requires me to snap my fingers, and I don't think that's going to be possible. So we'll go with plan B.
Like I said, man, I feel like it's... this is going to be a wild year. It's already... It's been 5 days, and it's already going to get... we haven't even seen the worst of that January has to offer yet, I don't think. So, it's just wait till October.
Man, it's getting to the point where it's like, bring them all in, pack them all in. I'm like, yeah, what happened to 6 feet?
Oh, they
fucking fast, didn't it?
Right?
They've since forgotten about that. And not to mention, don't forget that Chicago and Illinois in general is a super lib city. Super libtard city. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
You forget, I grew up around there.
Yeah, you're all
about to say,
ground.
that's our old home. Like, I mean, 100 years of Democrat rule has not done well for that city.
Same thing with California.
Well, California...
I mean, do we forget that Dalton, Illinois exists right now?
Oh, God, that mayor that looks like she could run really fast in high heels. And no, I'm not saying that because she's black. I'm saying that because she literally looks like every single stripper that I've ever worked with at Club O, Fantasy, and Silk when I was a bouncer in a fucking suit. That's what she looks like.
Oh,
she looks like every one of those strippers that you and I worked with, Cable, and you know the ones I'm talking about. She looks like one of them in a suit.
He's lying. He's saying it because she's black.
Long ass stripper nails, the fucking multicolored weave.
Bro.
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if she moonlights with her name as Precious. Okay? I wouldn't be surprised if her name at night is Precious or Bentley or like Gemini or Dynasty or some shit like that.
Bro, I mean, besides the fact that they just poofed like $85,000, like $85,000, like it just poofed. But the FBI have officially launched a probe into her shit for corruption. And I'm like, it's all over the fucking place, man. But like, oh, it's so bad.
It really is. And it's not, like I said, these are all symptoms of a much larger problem.
Yeah, it is. It's only going to keep getting worse. But I think do we want to end it here, though?
I mean, yeah.
Even though there's a lot to talk about, I think we're probably have to save some for another time.
I mean, I'm about to go and NyQuil, yeah.
You're gonna go. You're just gonna go and honestly just let this thing attack you.
No, I mean, dude, it's usually like I get this, I'm down for like a couple days, and then I'm fine.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Attack you. Alrighty. Well, I guess we'll leave it here then. Thank you everyone for joining us again for another exciting episode. It is gonna be one hell of a year, but again, Happy New Year to everyone. Happy spanking New Year. Please stick with us because this is also the year of primary presidency, so there's a lot that's gonna happen. Oh boy,
it's gonna be wild. It's gonna be a hell of a year. I mean, this is. I know, and again, me and Cable. I know you and your family, because I've heard your family react to this. My family reacted to this the same way. Every time we're just like, World War III is gonna break out, or a civil war, or both, and everyone's just like, you say that every year, and it's like, yeah, well, this year it might actually happen.
No,
This is getting ridiculous.
I've said that this year to my family, and now they're like, what the fuck does he know? No, now whenever I speak, they listen because of how crazy I predicted the last 2 years.
It's kind of funny.
My family did the same shit. They like, after years of not listening to me, they're just like, how do you know so much? It's called watch the fucking news, and I have a brain. Like,
something you said earlier. I thought about it then, but you're on a roll, and I didn't want to jump in. But when you're talking about like something like the color of the sky, right?
Yeah.
You know why the sky? Do you know why the sky is blue?
Because the atmosphere and the molecules in it reflect the color blue, and it bounces on our eyes, and that's why we see it as blue.
It reflects the color blue, but what does it reflect the color blue from?
The atmosphere, the oxygen, and the atmosphere.
Nope, the oceans.
Oh, right.
Yep.
See,
Damn it! I failed.
Okay.
See, I really did expect either one of you to know the actual answer to that question. Why is the sky blue? Because God loves the infantry.
You do that to me every single time, and you give me, and I give you the real answer, and every time you're just like, because God loves the infantry.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess God doesn't love medics.
To be fair, Norm, like I gotta throw one at you because usually it's when we're talking science. It's like, well, no, actually, this is the correct way to explain that. And then the one time you're like, oh, I'm gonna give him the science in, and nope, he's taking the piss.
More or less.
I just keep him guessing, man. But
on that note, I think that's a good time to end this.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Hopefully, I can fix my fucking technical difficulties for next time.
Hopefully that can. I hope this ends up being a good recording regardless. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope I really I want to make a formal apology only because it was my idea. I want to apologize for our cringy intros and outros because it was my idea. And yeah, so I just want to. I've been looking at them over and over, and the more I see them, I'm just like, man, that is so cringe. Why'd I do that? So I just want to apologize. I want to make a formal apology.
I think go. Excuse me.
Not your edits. Not your edits. Me. Anyway. Just I want to. I'm more or less kind of taking the piss, but also kind of sort of like literally apologizing.
So, Chris is responsible for the cringe 2024. You heard it here.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
I have admitted to the cringe. Anyway, you guys have a great night. Thank you for coming to us. And don't do it. And I mean, if you actually, you know what? It's your show now. If you want to do it, go for it.
No.
Okay.
No.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Hey. Let's end it on that note later.
Where's the off button? We hit there's an explosion, then it goes off screen. Just like, ooh.
Are you done recording, Ren, or are we still going?
Oh, and I wasn't stopped recording. I thought we were saying goodbye still.
We can still, yeah, we're still saying goodbye.
Okay,
So,
well, goodbye, everyone.
goodbye, everyone. Thank you. Like and
Goodbye.
subscribe, and just get ready for the next one because it's not going to stop here. It's just going to keep rolling more.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye for real
Bye.
this time.
Later. This has been the R.K.i.C Podcast. If you liked it, please, by all means, give it a like. If you didn't, tell us to fuck off. That's cool, too. You can find us on social media at Red. Where can they find you?
They can find me at Ren Prime on Twitter.
Cable, where can they find you?
You can find me at ThatCableGuy613 on X.
You can find me at R.K.i.C on X. You can find the podcast as well at R.K.i.C Podcast on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. And that being said, we genuinely hope you enjoyed it, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you very much for stopping by.